One panicked sentence made the deadliest alien warrior freeze. The corridor of the station shook as emergency lights flickered from white to red. Smoke drifted like slow fog along the ceiling, and the air smelled of burned metal. Everyone who could run already had. Those who could not were hiding, praying the bulkheads would hold. Alex did not pray. He stood still because his legs refused to move. Across the corridor, the alien warrior stepped through the torn hatch as if the steel had been paper. She was tall, armored in dark plates that reflected the flashing lights. Her helmet was shaped like a blade, narrow and sharp, and her eyes burned with a cold glow. Every species in the sector knew her kind. They were spoken of in whispers and warnings. When they arrived, battles ended. When they were sent, civilizations fell quiet. This one was known among the fleets as the deadliest of them all. Myra, crouched behind a shattered console, pressed a hand over her mouth. She had seen battle recordings. She knew what would happen next. One step forward from the warrior, one clean strike, and the corridor would be silent forever. Alex was not a soldier. He wore a station engineer jacket, torn at the sleeve. His hands were empty. His heart pounded so hard it hurt. He had stayed behind because the evacuation alarm had failed in this section, and because someone had to reset the power relay or the entire habitat ring would lose life support. He had done the job. He had been turning to leave when the hatch exploded inward. The warrior raised her weapon. It hummed with contained force. Her stance was perfect, balanced, efficient. She had killed on 1,000 worlds, and this was just another narrow corridor, another moment between heartbeats. Alex opened his mouth. He did not plan to speak. His mind was empty, flooded with fear. The sentence that came out was not brave or clever. It was not a threat or a demand. It was panic, pure and raw. "Please wait," he said. "The children are still behind me." The words echoed weakly off the metal walls. The warrior froze, not slowed, not cautious. Frozen. Her weapon stopped mid-rise. The hum. Her eyes flickered, the glow dimming for a fraction of a second. In all the recordings and all the stories, no one had ever seen one of her kind stop like that. Mira felt her breath catch. She did not understand why it mattered what Alex had said, but something had changed. The air itself felt different. The warrior lowered her weapon by a few centimeters. Her head tilted, a small motion, almost uncertain. "There are no non-combatants listed in this sector," she said. Her voice was low, layered with a metallic tone. It carried authority and danger in equal measure. Alex swallowed. His legs shook, but he stayed where he was. He thought of the maintenance crawlspace behind him where 3 evac shuttles had failed to dock properly, where 6 children and 2 adults were waiting, huddled in the dark. "They were heading to the docks," he said. "The alarms failed. I told them to stay put while I fixed the relay." The warrior did not move. Her gaze shifted past Alex, scanning the corridor behind him. Her senses searched, probed, confirmed the faint signs of life beyond the wall. Silence stretched. Myra realized her hands were trembling. Around the station, the battle still raged. Distant impacts echoed through the structure. But here, in this narrow corridor, time seemed to hold its breath. "You are human," the warrior said. Alex nodded. He did not trust his voice. "You are aware that this station is under sanctioned assault," she continued. "Resistance is futile." "I know," Alex said. "I am not resisting." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Then why speak?" He almost laughed. A broken sound caught in his chest. "Because I was scared," he said, "and because I thought you should know." The warrior studied him. She had been trained to read fear as weakness, as a signal to strike. Yet this fear was different. It was not the fear of death alone. It was fear for others, placed before himself. In her long career, she had faced enemies who begged, who lied, who cursed. None of them had spoken first of someone else. Behind her eyes, memories stirred. Not of mercy, but of old doctrines buried beneath layers of conquest. Rules written when her people had still remembered what it meant to protect instead of erased. She deactivated her weapon. The hum faded completely. Myra let out a shaky breath. She had been holding far too long. "This sector is no longer a combat zone," the warrior said. "You will escort the non-combatants to safety." Alex stared at her, stunned. "You are letting us go." "I am altering the parameters," she replied. "Do not test the limits of this decision." He nodded quickly. "Thank you." The word felt small compared to what she had done, but it was all he had. The warrior turned and signaled down the corridor. Her forces, hidden moments before, halted their advance. Orders rippled through the assault channels, sharp and unquestioned. Even among her kind, her word carried absolute weight. Within minutes, Mira and the others emerged from hiding. Alex led them to the crawlspace and helped the frightened children climb out. Their eyes were wide as they saw the armored figure standing watch, unmoving as a statue. "Is she going to hurt us?" one of them whispered. Alex shook his head. "No," he said. "She is helping." The warrior heard him. Something in her posture shifted. Almost imperceptibly, when the last of the civilians had been escorted to a functioning dock, the warrior turned back to Alex. The station alarms had quieted. Elsewhere, battles would continue. But here, the outcome had already changed. "You acted without strategy," she said. "Without leverage." He shrugged weakly. "I just said what was true." She studied him for a long moment. Then she did something no human had ever recorded one of her kind doing. She removed her helmet. Her face was marked with scars, her features sharp and alien, yet her eyes were no longer burning. They were thoughtful, heavy with something like memory. "Among my people," she said, "we are taught that hesitation is death." Alex met her gaze. "Among mine," he replied, "we are taught that some things are worth hesitating for." The warrior replaced her helmet. The glow returned, but it seemed less harsh now. "This encounter will be reported," she said. "It will be analyzed." He nodded. "I figured when it is," she continued, "it will be noted that a human delayed a decisive strike with a single sentence." She paused, then added, "That is inconvenient." Myra smiled despite herself. The warrior turned and walked back toward the ruined hatch. Before stepping through, she stopped. "Human," she said. "If you had spoken of yourself, I would not have stopped." Alex felt a chill run through him. "I know." She inclined her head, a gesture of respect rare among her kind. Then she was gone, her forces withdrawing with disciplined speed. In the days that followed, the story spread. At first it was a rumor among station crews, then it reached fleet command channels. Analysts replayed sensor logs again and again, focusing on the moment the warrior froze. They dissected the sentence, the tone, the context. One panicked sentence, not a weapon, not a tactic. Empathy. Humanity's allies listened closely. Their enemies listened even closer. The warrior's people argued behind closed doors. Some called the hesitation a flaw. Others called it a revelation. For the first time in generations, doctrines were questioned. New simulations were run, this time accounting for an unexpected variable. Humans did not always fight to win. Sometimes they spoke to protect, and sometimes that was enough to stop even the deadliest blade in the galaxy. Alex returned to his work on the station. He did not consider himself a hero. He had nightmares sometimes, replaying the moment the weapon had been raised. But he also remembered the way it had lowered. When asked why he spoke, he always gave the same answer. "I was scared," he said, "and I hoped it would matter. Out there among the stars." It did. Because from that day on, whenever human ships appeared on scanners, enemy commanders hesitated. Just a little longer. They remembered the report, they remembered the freeze, and they wondered what a human might say next.